In your own goal, right? If your goal is to get back in those jeans, or your goal is to get healthy because you know that you got some guilt in you in terms of the health you've been, keeping. It's to each in your own goals. So that's what the challenge represents. We just provide really the framework for you to achieve those goals, and then the kits, as you saw in the products. One of the reasons why we're so successful these days is because we're actually, you can justify the cost of the product by reducing the amount of food that you have to buy, and reducing the amount of groceries, or reducing the amount of times that you eat out. And it tastes good, many of you know that, and it's convenient, right? A lot of people ask me, what's the secret ingredient? I said, the secret ingredient is that it tastes good. Because the reason why I put on all that weight was because I ate food that tasted really good, right? Like McDonald's tastes good to me, because I was born and raised with it. Fast food tastes good. Junk food tastes good, right? That's why we like to eat that type of food. So when we created the product, it had to taste good, it had to be convenient, and it had to be able to replace costs that you're already spending, whether it be on meals or food supplies. And for those of you who had kids, you have to get off to school. It is the most magical thing in the world to see a mother make 5 meals right then and there with one blender, pour them in shakes, gone. Kids are fed for the day until lunchtime. It is a magical thing. Women who are sitting there thinking, I can't make my children egg whites every day and prepare a full, healthy meal of nutrients and proteins for my children on a daily basis. I mean, think about all us. I don't have the time to do that on an everyday basis. So that's how I use the program now. Now that I'm back down to like my 192, my whatever they call it, high school shape, right? Back to my high school shape type thing. Now it's about putting on muscle. So I use our products to add muscle. And for those of you who have ever seen me before, I've been adding tons of it lately. I'm totally diesel. But that's what I use it for. So it's whether you want to get fit or you want to lose weight. It's really to you. Last month, I think I said, last month we had 7,000 something to the challenge. This month we'll add 10,000 plus. It's really cool. We hear testimonies of people losing 5, 10 pounds in the first week. We hear testimonies of people losing 65 pounds in their 90 days. It's really up to them. And GJ, you mentioned it, like I made some predictions a year ago, and I have my crystal ball here with me today. So I'm going to make some predictions. At the current pace of growth that we are right now as a company, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Right now, this month to date, we're 25% ahead of last month, right? And I mean, normally in our industry, August is a tough period of time, and we're growing at all-time highs every single month, compounded growth. We are on the cusp of being the fastest growing company, certainly in our industry, if not all of America, and eventually the globe. And it's all a result of the simplicity of our program and ease of use. And like someone was saying earlier, it's not selling, it's just sharing. All I do is I share what I'm doing on the challenge. I'll share heading to the gym, or I'll share making a shake. I'm not telling my friends, you need to take this shake and you need to go with me to the gym and you need to do this, that, and the other. That's not the way the program works. You just basically lead by that example that you want to be to your family and to your community and to your friends, and then everyone else will follow your lead, and then they become the leader and they become the example. And if you get 3 people on the challenge with you, you get your product for free. So that's a real simple, and you think about that, in this day and age, how many people will go the extra mile to get themselves a deal, right? They'll drive across town to get the TV at half price. They'll go stand in line at Walmart at 5 a.m. on Black Friday, right? They'll cut coupons. I mean, think about that. How many people actually, how many of you, for example, if AT&T said they'd give you a free cell phone service, if you got 3 people on the program with you, how many of you send out a few emails, post some stuff on Facebook, and call up your mom, your grandma, and your sister and put them on the program, right? I mean, I would as well, right? And then when my mom said, what's unfair? You're getting your AT&T service for free. I'd say, Mom, call Aunt, Sandy and Uncle Dave and Uncle John and put them on the program. And you know what? My mom would sure enough be doing that. So that's the reason why our business is so different than the other models out there. Is whether or not you become a customer tonight or you become a distributor, you have an opportunity to get your product for free. Now, if you become a distributor, you can actually make a living, and I probably shouldn't even say this on camera. You can make a living by helping other people get their product for free. I know it sounds blasphemy. I mean, I know it sounds like it's one of the things, but you're just literally helping other people get their product for free. And if they fall short of that, they're still going to lose that extra weight, they're still going to feel great about themselves, and they're still going to save money by not having to shop as much or eat out as much, and they're going to save a whole lot of time by not having to procure, various foods at various times in the process. So no matter what, you're offering a huge value, whether you join as a customer here tonight or you join as a distributor, you're offering a huge value to everyone in your community. We have pastors that lead churches that join the challenge and start really promoting the challenge to their congregations. Our Feed the Children program has already contributed 270,000 meals since we launched it in late November, and our next goal is 1 million. But one day when I'm like 40 or something like that, I want to be able to say 1 billion meals served. Like McDonald's has that billion meals served thing. And that's our opportunity. I'm 33 years old, and I look at this as an opportunity to make some great change out there on the planet. And that's a fundamental program to it. I was sharing with someone at dinner, I guess it was last night, sometimes these nights get glued together. One of my dreams is 10, 15, 20 years from now, seeing the kids that are not able to even put on a pound because they're not, of socioeconomic capability, right? They don't have money in the household, or their parents are on welfare, they're eating rations, or food pantries are in a tough situation to be able to serve them the proteins they need. I cannot wait to see those kids come of age, and really, it'll be natural for them to be involved and to promote ViSalus, because they'll be, ViSalus kids, right? They'll be able to say, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever the time frame is, when my family needed it the most, that was the product that was there. So that's one of our key strategies to making a difference in these communities that we're involved in, including Omaha, and making that difference long term, not just short term, right? We want to build long-term bonds within the communities and help, really help the people that need it the most. And as a Christian, I got to tell you, that's pretty much the mission, right? When you're given the gift of having wisdom about health, or given the gift of having, prosperity and financial independence and whatnot, you're supposed to, think of those gifts as responsibilities. And I really see it as a responsibility for those of you, who feel like you've been called here this evening to really make a difference in your very own community. We need help right now in this community and every community for that matter. Childhood obesity is at an all-time high. The costs of our health care as Americans right now is literally killing our country. The other day I was called to speak before a senator of the United States of America, right? And I was like, wow, never thought I'd be doing that. But, because I was an unruly, troublemaking kid, so I was like, the only time I thought I'd ever speak to a senator, I'd be getting in trouble. And I was talking to the guy, then I just said, I'll share with you some simple math. If the average job in America, you make $30,000 a year, over your 40-year or so career, if you're so privileged to have that, you're going to contribute about $150,000 to the company of America, right? The government of America. And let's say, America is a very efficient company, and which we're not in terms of the amount of politicians and all that other stuff we got to, the streets we got to pave and the stuff we got to pay for. Well, let's say half of that goes to the company's bank account, right? So $75,000. You know how much money a heart attack costs? A lot more than that, right? You know how much money hypertension costs, how much money it costs for productivity, how much cancer costs. I mean, you can't get out of the hospital these days without spending $20,000, $30,000, right? So, you think about that, the costs and consequences of an unhealthy America is so great. And if we only knew what those costs and consequences are, I think we'd all do our duty. When called to duty, I think we do our duty, right? Back in the day, when my grandmother was called to donate her aluminum cans, right, for the war effort, send her husband off to the war, and go work at the various establishments to make sure that we're able to preserve our way. Everyone got called to that duty, and they did it, right? We need to really call people to duty right now, because we're about to, face some of the most expensive rise in healthcare costs we've ever faced. And, the consequences are not just, oh, that person down the street. I mean, we know friends and family members personally that are suffering as a result of this. And it's literally wiping out families' retirements, it's wiping out their incomes. And in this day and age, who can afford that? So there's really two rising tides right now, and you know, and Visalis is a company that kind of, by luck, by circumstance, or if you believe in faith, or whatever it is, we're positioned to really make a big contribution in those rising tides. The first rising tide is the health epidemic, you know, the healthcare epidemic, as I call it. You know, we are really set up to help prevent people from needing it in the first place, right? So there needs to be some sort of counterbalance to what's going on in the big pharma and all that other stuff. I mean, I have relatives that take so many prescriptions that they get full every morning, right? And you know, you think about that. You know, people suffering of diabetes, hypertension. I mean, it's amazing what's going on in the families right now. So that's number one. And then the second aspect of it is, right now, more Americans are seeking to be entrepreneurs than ever before. There's more people out there that have given up on the job market, right? You know, it's not going to get better anytime soon. In fact, every indicator says it'll either sustain at current levels. And you think about, what are the big corporations doing? Well, they're profiting unlike they've ever profited. How come the jobs aren't going up? Well, because they're figuring out ways to outsource those jobs overseas. They're figuring out ways to automate them out of jobs, right? You know, jobless overhauls of factories in Michigan and so forth, to really, you know, to really keep it exactly like it is, so they can reap their profits and their big bonuses. And I'm a huge evangelist of the subject of capitalism. And what I'm here to tell you is every one of you guys can participate in that and become the CEOs of your own companies. So as opposed to us all looking at these, you know, CEOs making these big bonuses, if we all thought of ourselves like CEOs making big bonuses, I think, you know, America could be a lot better of a place. So right now, you know, what Visalis provides truly in its simplest form is an opportunity for people to become entrepreneurs at a very low entry fee. And then you get to learn and you get to build your business along the way with some great mentors like Tony and Rhonda, G.J. Reynolds, and a variety of people that are in this room to teach you how to do it and how to be successful at it. You know, I have people that I've developed into entrepreneurs that make $1 million a year right now. And, you know, and then there's people that are making $100 a month right now. And there's people that are driving BMWs, and that's all that they wanted out of the opportunity. So to each is their own, so to speak. Whatever you want out of Visalis, you'll get, and you have the mentorship and the leadership here in the local market to get it. Right now, I give away 3 of those BMWs per day. So, you know, think about that. From time to time. And Krista in the back of the room there, as I went up there, she said, I want a BMW 750 drop top. So, you know, I said I'd give her an honorable mention for the request. If you're on Krista's team, make sure you get involved and get active tonight, so that way she can get that drop top, right? But we're giving away 3 of those a day. You know, 3 of them a day. That number will be 5 a day pretty soon. Eventually it'll be 10 a day. Why not you? Why not you get a free car out of this opportunity? So, over the next 5 to 6 hours, I'm going to show you how to get a free car. Some people are already getting up and leaving. I told Tony and Rhonda I'd only talk for 15 minutes. We're at about 20 now. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, you know, I'll just conclude with this. We'll answer any of your questions that you have about the program, about the business, about anything that you have. Well, I'm not going to do it in front of the room here because some people don't have the same questions. But we'll answer them, you know, after we break the room here. So if you have any questions, get them answered here today. Most important thing you can do is leave here having made a decision. You know, the first most important thing you can do in life is make the right decision, right? The second most important thing you can do is make the wrong decision, right? The worst thing you can do is make no decision. I mean, that is the truth. You know, you think about it right now, you think about where your health is or where your financial health is, and where it's been a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and what's the difference? The difference is the decisions that you've made, right, or you haven't made, that have resulted in the success that you've had or you haven't had. So I'm here to tell you to make a decision to have success financially and make a decision to have success with your health. That's what I'm here to tell you to do. If you need any of your questions answered about that, I'll stick around and answer them for as long as I can. Tony, Rhonda, the rest of the leadership here will answer them. And, you know, we're here at your service. So I thank you very much. I appreciate you having me here and coming back to the meeting.
Good for Ryan, everybody. Thank you so much, Ryan.